If you found yourself here, it's not by chance. And if you're still listening, it means you felt it, that pull, that sense of otherness that's followed you your whole life. You've known deep inside that you're not like others. There's something different, something sacred, something set apart. You sense it, don't you? That weight on your shoulders, the quiet knowing that you have a role to play in something far greater than yourself. You are one of the chosen. And being chosen comes with both a blessing and a burden. This video isn't for everyone.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
It's for those who felt misunderstood, isolated, or even attacked for simply being who they are. It's for those who've wondered why their path feels so much harder, why their victories feel so hard-won, and why their spirit feels so targeted. It's because you are a chosen one. And if you're chosen, you've likely already experienced spiritual attacks. But don't fear, because the universe, the divine, has also equipped you with the tools to protect yourself. Today we will uncover the secrets that you must keep and the practices you must embrace to guard your spirit, your energy, and your mission. Let me ask you this: have you ever noticed how your light draws people to you, some with awe, others with envy? How does your energy seem to shift a room, for better or worse? Have you felt drained, misunderstood, or even betrayed by those closest to you? These are not coincidences. These are the markers of someone who carries a divine purpose, and with great purpose comes great opposition. So let us begin. The first secret that the chosen must understand is the importance of discernment and secrecy. As a chosen one, you must understand this deeply. Not everything you know, experience, or feel is meant to be shared. There's a sacredness to your journey, and not everyone will honor it. In fact, many won't even understand it. Your insights, your revelations, your very presence, these are treasures, but treasures must be guarded. Why? Because the world is full of individuals who will either misunderstand you or seek to harm you. Not everyone is ready to hear the truths you carry, and not everyone is worthy of them. When Jesus said, "Do not cast your pearls before swine," he wasn't speaking out of arrogance. He was offering wisdom. Not everyone is prepared to appreciate or handle the sacred. And when you give what is sacred to those who are spiritually blind, they may trample on it, and in doing so harm you. This is why discernment must become second nature to you. You must learn to recognize who is truly seeking light and who is merely seeking to take from you. Think about it. How many times have you shared something deeply personal only to be met with ridicule or judgment? How often have you opened your heart only for it to be used against you later? These experiences are lessons. They teach you that your spiritual insights are not for casual consumption. They are seeds, and not every soil is fertile. Guard them. But discernment doesn't mean shutting yourself off entirely. It's about balance. Yes, there will be moments when you are called to share, to guide, to teach. But even then, you must ensure you are doing so out of divine prompting and not out of a need for validation or approval. You answer to a higher calling, not to the opinions of the world. Now, let's move to the second secret: protect your vulnerabilities. Even as a chosen one, you are human. You feel deeply, you love deeply, you hurt deeply. This is part of what makes you so powerful. But it is also what makes you vulnerable, and your vulnerabilities, if exposed to the wrong people, can be used against you. We live in a world where many people operate from a place of fear, jealousy, and ego. They see the light in you, and instead of seeking their own, they seek to diminish yours. They may not even be aware of it, but their actions toward you are often rooted in their own insecurities. This is why you must be discerning about who you allow into your inner circle. Ask yourself this: who truly sees you? Who holds space for your pain without judgment? Who celebrates your victories without jealousy? These are the people who are safe, but they are rare. And until someone proves themselves worthy of your trust, your vulnerabilities must remain protected. This doesn't mean you never show emotion or that you must always appear strong. It means that you choose wisely. It means you don't allow just anyone to see the cracks in your armor. It means you lean on the divine first and foremost. Remember, even Jesus had moments of vulnerability, but he chose his closest disciples to witness them. He didn't share his anguish with the crowds. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane with his inner circle, and even then, he retreated alone to pray. The third secret is perhaps the most practical yet profound: guard your energy. Your energy is your power. It's the essence of who you are. And as a chosen one, your energy operates on a higher frequency. People feel it, even if they don't understand it. They are drawn to it, some out of admiration, others out of need. But here's the thing: not everyone who seeks your energy has good intentions. Some are drawn to you because they see in you what they lack in themselves. And instead of doing the inner work to cultivate their own light, they try to siphon yours. Have you ever felt completely drained after being around someone? Have you noticed patterns where certain people seem to bring chaos into your life? This is not an accident. These are energy vampires, whether they realize it or not. And if you don't set boundaries, they will continue to take from you until you are left depleted. So, how do you guard your energy? First, recognize when you are being drained. Pay attention to how you feel after interactions. If someone consistently leaves you feeling heavy, anxious, or exhausted, that's a sign. Second, practice the art of saying no. You are not obligated to help everyone. You are not a savior. You are a guide, a light, but even lights need to recharge. Third, prioritize your spiritual practices. Prayer, meditation, grounding, all of these help you replenish your energy and strengthen your spiritual shield. And finally, understand that your energy is sacred. Not everyone deserves access to it. Be selective. Remember that even Jesus withdrew from the crowds to recharge. Solitude is not selfish, it's necessary. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you truly prioritized your energy? When was the last time you said no to something or someone that was draining you? Think about that. Your energy is your lifeblood as a chosen one. It's what allows you to fulfill your mission. Guard it fiercely. Before we move forward to the next part, let me leave you with this thought: you are not here to please everyone. You are not here to explain yourself to everyone. You are here for a purpose, and that purpose requires you to protect yourself, your energy, your vulnerabilities, your insights. These are not just self-preservation techniques, they are acts of devotion to the divine mission you are here to fulfill. As a chosen one, there is a truth you must fully embrace: silence and solitude are not weaknesses. They are not signs of avoidance or isolation. They are sacred spaces where you find your strength, receive clarity, and hear the whispers of the divine. In a world that thrives on noise, constant communication, and oversharing, silence and solitude are acts of rebellion and acts of spiritual preservation. Let's start with the power of silence. Have you ever noticed how people fear silence? How do they rush to fill it with words, distractions, or noise? Silence makes many uncomfortable because it forces them to confront themselves, their thoughts, their emotions, their unresolved pain. But for the chosen ones, silence is a sanctuary. It's where you reconnect with your essence. It's where you retreat to hear the voice of the divine, unobstructed by the chaos of the world. Silence is not emptiness. It is full. It holds space for all that is sacred. When you embrace silence, you create an opening for wisdom to flow. You allow the divine to speak to you in ways that words cannot. You begin to see things more clearly, patterns in your life, lessons you need to learn, and truths that have been hidden in plain sight. But silence isn't just about listening. It's also about power. When you choose silence in moments of conflict, criticism, or chaos, you reclaim your energy. Let me ask you, how often have you regretted words spoken in haste? How often have you felt drained after defending yourself to someone who didn't deserve your explanation? There is a reason silence has been called a shield. It protects your energy and your peace. It denies others the power to provoke you, to pull you into their chaos, or to disrupt your focus. Think about this: when Jesus stood before his accusers, he remained silent. He didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He didn't beg for understanding. Why? Because he knew that truth doesn't require validation. His silence was not weakness, it was strength. It was a declaration that he answered to a higher authority, not to the opinions or judgments of men. As a chosen one, you must learn to wield silence in the same way. Not every attack requires a response. Not every accusation deserves an explanation. When you remain silent, you disarm your adversaries. You frustrate those who seek to provoke you. And most importantly, you preserve your energy for what truly matters. But silence is not just about withholding words. It's also about withholding your presence from situations that are not aligned with your purpose. Let me ask you this: how often do you stay in environments or relationships out of obligation, even when you know they are draining your spirit? Silence is also the act of walking away, of choosing not to engage, of prioritizing your peace over the expectations of others. This brings us to the power of solitude. As a chosen one, solitude will become one of your greatest allies. But let me be clear, solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Solitude is the presence of self and spirit. It is a sacred space where you can rest, recharge, and realign with your mission. Have you noticed how much the world fears solitude? How do people fill every moment of their lives with distractions, social media, endless conversations, constant activity? This is because solitude forces you to face yourself, to sit with your thoughts, your emotions, and your truths. But for the chosen ones, solitude is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. In solitude, you find clarity. You begin to see your life and your purpose with greater focus. You realize what truly matters and what doesn't. The noise of the world fades, and the voice of the divine becomes louder. It is in solitude that you receive guidance, inspiration, and strength for your journey. But solitude is not just a space for reflection. It is also a space for protection. When you withdraw from the chaos of the world, you shield your spirit from unnecessary attacks. You create boundaries that allow you to preserve your energy and focus on your growth. Solitude is not retreating from the world, it's preparing to engage with it from a place of strength. Let's consider this: even Jesus, in the height of his ministry, often withdrew to solitary places to pray. He understood that solitude was essential for maintaining his connection to the Father and for recharging his spirit. If Jesus, with his divine mission, needed solitude, how much more do we? But solitude requires discipline. It's not always easy to step away from the demands of life, the expectations of others, or the distractions of the world. It requires you to set boundaries, to say no to what drains you and yes to what nurtures you. It requires you to prioritize your spiritual well-being over the endless busyness that society glorifies. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you truly embraced solitude? Not just being alone, but being present with yourself and with the divine. When was the last time you turned off the noise, the distractions, and simply listened? If it's been a while, it's time to return to that sacred space. The combination of silence and solitude is transformative. Together, they create a space where you can heal, grow, and receive divine guidance. They allow you to step out of the chaos and into your power. They remind you that you are not just a part of this world, you are connected to something far greater. But here's the challenge: silence and solitude are not always comfortable. They require you to confront yourself, to face your fears, your doubts, and your wounds. But it is in this confrontation that you find freedom. It is in this space that you realize that you are not your fears, your doubts, or your wounds. You are something far greater. You are a chosen one, divinely guided and divinely protected. So how do you integrate silence and solitude into your life? Start small. Set aside a few minutes each day to sit in silence. Turn off your phone, close your eyes, and just be. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Listen for the still, small voice within you. Over time, as you grow more comfortable with silence, extend these moments. Spend a day in solitude, disconnecting from the world to reconnect with the divine. And when you feel overwhelmed by the noise of the world, remember this: silence is your sanctuary. Solitude is your shield. They are not signs of weakness, they are acts of strength. They are tools that allow you to protect your spirit, preserve your energy, and stay aligned with your mission. Before we move to the next part, let me leave you with this thought: silence and solitude are gifts, not punishments. They are spaces where you can hear the voice of the divine, where you can recharge your spirit, and where you can prepare for the battles ahead. Embrace them, prioritize them, and watch how they transform your journey. As a chosen one, your emotions are both a gift and a challenge. They allow you to feel deeply, to empathize with others, and to connect to the spiritual world in profound ways. But they can also be your greatest vulnerability. If you allow your emotions to control you, they can cloud your judgment, distract you from your mission, and leave you vulnerable to spiritual attacks. Therefore, mastering emotional resilience is not just a skill for the chosen, it is a necessity. Let's begin with a question: have you ever been overwhelmed by anger, sorrow, or fear to the point where you felt powerless? Have you ever reacted to someone or something in a way that you later regretted? These moments are not failures, they are lessons. They reveal the areas where you need to grow, where you need to strengthen your emotional foundation. And that growth begins with understanding. Emotions are not your enemy. They are messengers. They reveal what is happening within you: your fears, your desires, your wounds, and your needs. When you feel anger rising, it's not just anger. It's a signal that something important to you feels threatened. When you feel sadness, it's not just sadness. It's a call to heal, to let go, or to reconnect. And when you feel fear, It's not just fear. It's an invitation to confront the unknown with courage. The problem arises when we let these emotions take control. Anger, unchecked, can lead to destructive actions. Fear, if allowed to fester, can paralyze you. Sadness, if not addressed, can spiral into despair. This is why mastering your emotions is so vital. It's not about suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding them, channeling them, and using them as tools for growth and transformation. So, how do you master your emotions? The first step is self-awareness. You must become deeply attuned to your inner world. When an emotion arises, pause. Don't react immediately. Instead, ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What is this emotion trying to tell me? By pausing and reflecting, you create space between the emotion and your reaction. You take back control. Let's go deeper. Imagine a moment when someone provoked you. Maybe they insulted you, betrayed you, or challenged your beliefs. Your first instinct might have been to lash out, to defend yourself, or to prove them wrong. But let me ask you, did reacting from that place of emotion bring peace? Did it resolve the situation, or did it only escalate the conflict? Emotional mastery requires you to step back and see the bigger picture. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult requires a response. When you react emotionally, you give your power away. But when you pause, reflect, and choose your response wisely, you remain in control. You protect your energy, your peace, and your purpose. The second step to mastering your emotions is emotional regulation. This means learning how to manage your emotions in a healthy and productive way. When you feel anger rising, instead of letting it consume you, find a way to release it constructively. Go for a walk, write in a journal, or engage in deep breathing. When sadness overwhelms you, don't suppress it. Allow yourself to feel it, but also take steps to heal. Talk to someone you trust, meditate, or engage in activities that bring you joy. And when fear creeps in, remember this fear is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to the unknown. But as a chosen one, you are called to move through fear, not be paralyzed by it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. When fear arises, ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? And if that worst-case scenario came to pass, could I survive it? Most of the time, the answer is yes. And that realization frees you to take the next step. The third step is channeling your emotions into spiritual power. Your emotions, when understood and directed, can become a source of strength. Righteous anger, for example, can fuel you to stand up against injustice. Sorrow can deepen your compassion and motivate you to help others who are suffering. Joy can inspire and uplift those around you. The key is to use your emotions as tools, not as masters. You are the one in control. This brings us to the art of balance. Balance is the cornerstone of your spiritual path. Without it, even the most resilient chosen one can falter. Balance is what keeps you grounded. It allows you to walk between the spiritual and physical worlds without losing yourself in either. But maintaining balance in a chaotic world is no easy task. Let's start with your spiritual life. As a chosen one, your connection to the divine is your foundation. It is the source of your strength, your guidance, and your protection. But in the busyness of life, it's easy to neglect this connection. Days go by without prayer, without meditation, without reflection. And slowly you begin to feel disconnected, lost, and vulnerable. Let me ask you, how often do you prioritize your spiritual practices? How often do you set aside time to pray, meditate, or simply sit in silence? If the answer is rarely, it's time to realign. Your spiritual life is not something you can afford to put on hold. It is the anchor that keeps you steady in the storms of life. No matter how busy you are, make time for it daily. Even just a few minutes of intentional connection can transform your day. But balance is not just about your spiritual life. It's also about your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you neglect your body, your mind, or your emotions, you will find yourself burnt out and unable to fulfill your mission. This is why self-care is not selfish, it is essential. Eat nourishing foods. Move your body in ways that feel good to you. Rest when you're tired. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Engage in activities that bring you joy and peace. These are not luxuries. They are necessities. Remember, balance is about taking care of the whole self, body, mind, and spirit. Now let's talk about balance in relationships. As a chosen one, you are naturally empathetic. People are drawn to you because they sense your light, your wisdom, and your ability to heal. But not everyone who seeks your help is aligned with your purpose. Some people will drain you. Others will try to pull you off your path. And some will simply not understand the sacredness of your journey. You must learn to set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They allow you to give from a place of abundance, not exhaustion. They protect your energy and ensure that you have enough left for yourself and your mission. Ask yourself, who in my life uplifts me? Who drains me? Who supports my growth and who hinders it? Be honest, and then take action. Distance yourself from those who drain you and deepen your connections with those who inspire you. Finally, let's talk about balancing solitude and connection. As we discussed earlier, solitude is essential for your growth and renewal. But as a chosen one, you are also called to engage with the world. Your mission requires you to connect, to guide, and to uplift. The key is finding a rhythm that works for you. Spend enough time in solitude to recharge your spirit, but also make time for meaningful connections. Too much isolation can lead to stagnation, while too much connection can lead to burnout. Balance is the key. Before we conclude, let me leave you with this thought: balance is not something you achieve once and for all. It is a dance. It requires constant awareness, adjustment, and grace. But when you prioritize balance, you create a foundation that allows you to thrive, not just survive. Let me remind you of this: you are not alone. You are surrounded by forces greater than you can imagine: angels, guides, the divine itself working behind the scenes to protect and support you. When you align yourself with this truth, you step into an unshakable power. You are not a victim of spiritual attacks, you are a warrior, equipped and empowered. So choose one, armor up. Protect your spirit with prayer, intention, cleansing, boundaries, faith, and surrender. Walk through the world knowing that you are divinely guided and protected. The forces that come against you cannot prevail, for the light within you is stronger than any darkness. Before we close, let me ask you this: how will you begin protecting your spirit today? What practices will you commit to, and what boundaries will you set? Reflect on this and take action. Your mission is too important, and your light is too precious to leave unguarded. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Stay protected, stay aligned, and remember you are never alone. Forces greater than you are guiding your every step. Until next time, stay blessed and continue shining your light.